everybody. Good morning. Good morning. And well, it ain't even good morning. Like this is the afternoon. But I wanted to hop on here. Today is Wednesday. And for y'all who don't know, yes, I wear glasses. I just don't wear them often. But I wanted to just hop on here real quick because God is really taking me through this kind of little mini course of boundaries. And I've heard I heard a pastor say one time, like, you can't expect that if you don't communicate your boundaries, like not communicated boundaries, it's not a boundary, you know. And in a sense, I agree and disagree. I'm in neutral in it, right? Because we have people where you will communicate to them after not having contact them for oh so long, and then they're coming back in your life. You will communicate to them and say, hey, look, don't have expectations of me doing this, don't have expectations of me doing that, don't have expectations of me in general in certain things, because I got a life, like I got things going on. And not giving them a full explanation, it's just a matter of, do not expect for this. For example, I told someone, don't expect for me to answer your calls or, answer your text messages all the time, because by the time I get home, it's time for me and my kids to shower, get ready for bed, and do it all over again the next day. And then normally on my off day, if it's during the week, I'm chilling to my own self. Like, that's my own me time. Like, don't expect, for me to put you on my schedule. Like, no. And this was a person who was very emotionally abusive, verbally abusive. And I chose, like, I'm just letting you know ahead of time. So I don't want you to get in your feelings if I don't text you right back or this and that or whatever, because that's not the case and that's not who I am. And so the person agreed and understood, but at the same time, God showed me, like, because you never forget who a person is. If somebody comes back in your life, you got to make sure you never forget who they really are. And God will use things to remind you who they really are, but to show you how much you've grown. So today, I received a text message and it was like, oh, are y'all okay? Like, but good morning though. And I got a little frustrated. I got a little agitated because that same person texted me, you know what I'm saying? And it really kind of said some real kind of like, okay. Like, it was a matter of bet. And so what God is showing me, I just went on my walk and everything, and what God is showing me is understanding, like, I'm not budging on my boundaries. I'm not compromising for nobody. I don't care who you are, mama, daddy, brother, sister. I don't care. I'm not compromising because I've already went through that in my past, and I have grown from that. I'm no longer in a codependent state where I'm compromising, seeking man's approval for anything that I'm doing. And I know that's what God is showing me in this little mini course he's giving me, is that I no longer care about nobody else's approval. I'm no longer seeking to be approved and nothing by man. And that is a strong view of who I used to be. I really don't care anymore. I really don't care if man approves about what I'm doing in my life, because God is leading me, guiding me, and covering me and keeping me. And he is guiding me and covering me and keeping me. And he ain't never disappointed me nor let me down. He has never failed me, not yet, not one time. Man has disappointed me every single time. Man has did a whole bunch of hurt and betrayal and pain, and then left me, tried to pick me up, left again. Man has done a lot to me that God has healed all of those wounds. And so I want to just encourage you that if you have anybody, that's coming back, or you're crossing back paths with for whatever reason, ask God why. I know years ago, maybe a couple years back, I ran away from facing my adversary. And I've learned you can't run away from facing your adversary or adversaries. You can't run away from them. You have to eventually face them. Even if it just means that you have a conversation and you set a boundary, and whether they respect that boundary or not, that ain't even got nothing to do with you. You know that you said it. You know that you have stood on it, and you respect it because you set that boundary with yourself internally, and you are full confident in it, and you know that you are not budging. Then guess what? Because you know that you're not going to budge off of it, it doesn't matter. It's their choice whether they respect it or not. And most people, when they don't respect other people's boundaries, especially people who used to allow for them to get away with certain stuff, and they no longer dealing or tolerating with that, they eventually kind of just dismisses themselves eventually, or like they just kind of like not even try and respond back, or not even try and reach out to that person anymore. And not saying that won't happen with this particular person, but I felt led to just share this. This is my little outlet, so I felt led to really kind of just share this to encourage somebody that if you're going through that, if you cut off and did a hard cut off with family members, friends, even a spouse, and you just like, you know what, we've been separated for years and I don't know what it is, never allow for nobody to just come and try and pick you up whenever the heck they want to. Like, no, don't ever do that. Respect your boundaries. When you respect your boundaries that you set within yourself, it's easy for you to separate from the world. It's easy for you to separate from other people. And when it's time, and whether you got to vocally do it or show it or continue to show it, the showing is not you proving. It's going to be how the way you carry yourself. It's going to be the way you talk. It's going to be the way that you ain't responding to other stuff that you would normally respond to. I would normally respond real petty to some of the stuff that's been hitting my phone, but I haven't been responding because I'm not there yet. But I still got to check that petty, because Petty Betty, she ain't all the way dead. So if you know that you still got to check that petty, if you know that you like, okay, no, I'm not finna do this, then just stand on it. Stand on that boundary and don't waver, don't move. I was walking, and while I was walking, the wind was just blowing and blowing and blowing and blowing. I'm like, dang, I walked this from the other side, it wasn't even blowing. But when I get on this side, all of a sudden the wind is blowing. And God said, yeah, but are you moving? Is it pushing you up off of your course that you're on? Like, no. What does this course look like? I'm like, it's a narrow course. I'm like close to the curb, so can't nobody walk on this but me. Like, yeah, it's like a straight line. People got to walk in a straight line to walk on this course. And I'm just having this conversation with God, and he like, yeah, absolutely. So when the wind blows, that's just a test to see is you gonna budge. So when the wind get to blowing, is you gonna budge and compromise your boundaries, or are you gonna keep on walking on them? Are you gonna keep on standing on your boundaries that you set for yourself in your life, to be like, I'm no longer gonna tolerate this toxic and unhealthiness? Now that you can full blown see it at 100%, are you gonna tolerate it? Are you gonna continue? Are you gonna respond? Or are just as required, just no response? Like, nah, because this ain't got nothing to do with me. This got everything to do with them and what they need to do for themselves, and what they ain't doing for themselves ain't got nothing to do with me. So I hope this encourage you, and I just want to tell you, like, stand on your boundaries. Don't waver and don't compromise for nobody. And if you are struggling with compromising your boundaries, and you feel like people don't respect you, and people just talking to you all crazy any old kind of way, and you know internally, you know yourself, like, you tolerating it, baby boy, baby girl, all I can tell you is make sure you journaling, make sure you going to therapy, make sure that you not only going to therapy, but you walking those steps out. Really do what you need to do for yourself, and don't worry about what nobody else got to say. Don't worry about if it doesn't work out for them, or if it doesn't fit in their category, or their unrealistic expectation, or their fantasized, I ain't even gonna say unrealistic, their fantasized expectation of you that you never set for yourself. You never set that for yourself, and you never set that for them. And if they didn't get the clue when they came back that you were no longer that person anymore, then that ain't got nothing to do with you. That's got everything to do with them being in denial. But baby boy, baby girl, don't ever compromise your boundaries for nobody. I don't care who it is, family nor friends. You stand still, and you keep on moving. You stand feet planted, firm. Stand super firm in it. Don't even try and figure it out. Don't even try to, none of that. You stand firm on your boundaries. And if most of that stuff means I'm not responding because I ain't tolerating that toxic stuff, that's dysfunctional, then don't tolerate it. If they get in their feelings about it, oh well, they just gonna be in their feelings about it. And don't allow for it to affect you or your day. And I ain't just talking to y'all, I'm talking to myself. Why I say it? Because this is my outlet. This is helping me right now. And this little mini course that God decided to give me before I go to lunch. Well, yeah, it started before I went to lunch, and now I'm on lunch. So just don't. Stand firm. Stand firm on what you said. And they either going to move out the way or they're going to get with the program. Be blessed.